Okay, brief interruption. Again, in the next one, number 2, if I plug the 0 in right now, the way that it is, it would be undefined. There's a radical on top, so we're going to get the conjugate of the top and multiply both the bottom and top by that conjugate to manipulate the function. Make it 2 plus the same radical, 4 minus x. Okay, same thing on bottom. On the top, the conjugates, I'll multiply. 2 times 2 is 4. Different signs minus. Now, when I get the radical 4 minus x times radical 4 minus x, I have to put that 4 minus x in parentheses because that minus sign is going to have to be distributed. On the bottom, I'll leave it in factor form, x times the 2 plus radical 4 minus x. Okay? I'm going to distribute the top. So I get 4 minus 4 plus x over the same thing. No. 2 plus radical 4 minus x. So I just have x on top. X times, again, 2 plus radical 4 minus x. So the x's cancel again. There's a 1 left on top. And the 2 plus radical 4 minus x on bottom. Now we plug in the 0. When I plug in a 0 here, I get 1 over 2 plus the square root of 4 minus 0, which is just the square root of 4. So it's 1 over 2 plus 2, which is 4. Final answer. Okay, so it's, just knowing what to do. It's not really a lot involved. Number 3, again, can't do direct substitution because if I put the radical 5 in there, radical 5 minus radical 5 will be 0. So the fraction would be undefined. So I have to multiply the bottom this time. The conjugate's going to be radical x plus radical 5 on top also. The top I'm going to leave in factor form because that's not the conjugates. The bottom with the conjugates, the radical x times radical x is just x, minus radical 5 times positive radical 5 is minus 5. So here I could cancel the x minus 5 with 5 minus x, the reverse subtraction. So you need to remember that negative 1 goes in the front, or negative in front of the radical x plus radical 5. Now I could substitute the 5 in and get an answer. Negative radical 5 plus radical 5. Radical 5 plus radical 5 is not rational, but I can make it 2 radical 5, and that negative comes down in front. So this is an irrational answer, but as long as there's not a radical in the denominator, that's okay. Number 4, again, if I do direct substitution with the 9, if I put the 9 in, there's going to be a 0 on the bottom. So the numerator has the radical, so I'm going to multiply the numerator by the same radical, x plus 7. Instead of minus 4, I'm going to put plus 4. Same thing on the bottom, but on the bottom, since it's not conjugates, I'll leave it in factor form. So on top, the radicals times each other just gives you the x plus 7, which is underneath. The negative 4 times positive 4 gives me negative 16. Okay? Which is, I might just simplify this in this step right here and get x minus 9 because 7 minus 16. And then bring it over when I multiply this, and I'm going to leave it in factor form. X minus 9 times that conjugate. So now I see that the x minus 9's cancel. Same direction, so there's no negative there. There's a 1 on top. The radical x plus 7 plus 4 is on bottom now. And now I could plug in that 9. It's here. Get 1 over the square root of, it was 9, right? 9 plus 7 plus 4. So this is 16. Square root of 16 is 4, so it's 1 over 4 plus 4. Or 1 over 8, final answer. Okay, The only one that had something a little different was number 2, because the binomial radical expression was second. You had to make sure to put it in parentheses when you took it out of the radical to distribute the minus sign. Then there's a little summary question that's has a little extra kick in it. Again, if I put 9 in as is, we'd have a 0 in the denominator. So I'm going to multiply the bottom and the top by the 3 plus radical x, the conjugate of the bottom. On the bottom, I'll multiply the conjugates. 3 times 3 is 9. Negative radical x times positive radical x is minus x. Now the numerator, I'm going to leave in factor form, but notice that this expression that was there could be factored. So I noticed that I could pull out a 2. So I'm going to rewrite that as 2 times, when I divide the 18 by 2, I get 9, minus 2x divided by 2, I get minus x, and then the conjugate that was on the outside. So I was able to see that if I did that, the 9 minus x's will cancel. Again, they're both in the same order, so I don't have to have a negative. So we're just left with the numerator, nothing left in the denominator. And now if I plug 9 into this, I will get a value. 2 times 3 plus the square root of 9. So that's 2 times 3 plus 3, because square root of 9 is just 3, which is 12. Final answer. Okay, so again, just like yesterday, I'm going to give you 2 to try on your own, and I'll give you the answers to them tomorrow to see how you did on this. Feel free to comment if you have any questions.